evening, Austin, Texas. A very interesting show, Mike Durbin. Plenty of inexperience on the telecast this evening, which could prove to be very exciting.
Well, we have only one player over 30. We have 4 players in their 20s. We have only one PBA title among the 5 players on our telecast tonight, and that is Kent Wagner, who won earlier this year in Las Vegas. So we have inexperience abounding. To make it even more graphic, is our finalists have a total combined record of 6-28 on television so far this year. So somebody's going to win. We're sure of that.
Should be the kind of show, Mike, where anything can happen depending on which bowler gets hot, because we've got some players that haven't been on television before, although one player who has is the player in the number 5 position, Purvis Granger.
Purvis is making his 5th appearance on our national television show. The 4 previous appearances, he had to win his final game in order to make it, but he's still looking for that title number 1.
And in 14 years on the PBA Tour, Pete McCordick has to be the sentimental favorite here this evening.
Shot a 300 game on national television earlier this year, earned $100,000. But that elusive first title, Pete has been looking for it for a long time. Maybe tonight will be his night.
Keep your eyes peeled on the number 3 contestant, Chris Warren. He's the dynamo from Dallas.
In his first televised appearance, he's got to be nervous, have some butterflies, but this kid really gets a lot of revolutions on that ball, and he can throw some strikes.
And, of course, the only PBA champion on the telecast this evening, Kent Wagner.
Has a TV record of 1-6, but that one win was earlier this year in Las Vegas when he beat the great Pete Wepper. So he says that he can win his 2nd title here tonight.
And a tall Texan will bowl out of the top seed position, Philip Ringner, and he is an outstanding bowler.
Been on the tour for 8 years, Denny, and has never even bowled for the title once. His best finish is 5th. He's got to be nervous tonight, but he has to win only 1 game to get his first title in a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Well, let's talk about the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Whoever wins here this evening will make travel plans to head to Akron coming up in April.
Well, the reason for that is 4 of our contestants are non-winners, and our one winner, Kent Wagner, is no longer eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He bowled in it last April and used up his 1 year of eligibility. And usually we have a very complicated qualifying system for that. But people that win their first title don't last very long. They only last 1 year as far as eligibility. Then you have to win again. So if Kent wants to get back in, he must win here tonight.
Well, anything can happen and normally does on the PBA Tour. We might see it here this evening, perhaps even a 300 game. Stay tuned for the opening of the finals of the $115,000 Austin Open. Tonight's telecast is being brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age, for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all that you do, this Bud's for you. And by True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business. And in the opening match, it'll be Purvis Granger and Pete McCordick out of Houston, Texas. Stay tuned.
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing.
Radowski, Shiboski.
A chance.
Pronounced Shiboski. You're gonna make it here, 'cause you make America work, and this fight's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
Tough problems call for special solutions. So call on True Test specialty products from True Value Hardware stores. True Test Sealer and Stain Killer prepares surfaces for painting, and it's just $4.98 a quart. Outside, remove dirt and chalk with True Test Siding Cleaner, only $5.98 a half gallon. True Seal waterproofing coating is just $7.98 a gallon. And Exo Rust Gloss Enamel puts down a rust-resistant coat. It's only $4.98 a quart at participating True Value Hardware stores.
Everyone's idea of the perfect car may be different, but on gasolines, people often agree.
Thanks, Dad.
Which is why Americans have made Shell the best-selling gasolines in the country.
Hey, Tommy, the big day at last.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Maybe it's the patented additive package,
But I'm starting it off right.
or the way you feel your car perform. Whatever it is, it's the difference between being America's best-selling gasolines or just one of the rest. Shell, Experience the difference.
Morning, Fred. Morning, Bert. Let's go, boys. That ice cream's not going to mine itself.
Say, these Gold Rush bars are a real gold mine, eh, Bert?
Right. Ice cream, peanuts, caramel.
Rich, chocolatey coating.
Yeah.
Gold Rush bars sure look good, eh, Bert? Bert, hey, Bert, don't eat our profits.
Sorry, I lost my head.
Gold Rush bars and new Gold Rush nuggets. The precious ice cream treats, mined by penguins.
Hey, Fred, you want to grab a cold one?
Real funny.
Gold Rush in your grocer's freezer.
Welcome back to Westgate Lanes in Austin, Texas, for the finals of the $115,000 Austin Open. Purvis Granger on the left-hand lane will open up match number 1, and he'll bowl against a living legend now, Pete McCordick.
Well, as we said, the fans here in Texas, as we're in Austin, Texas, and Pete is from Texas, although he's not from Austin, he's from Houston. They're pumped for him to win. They're shouting Pete in the practice ball.
They were cheering his strikes in the practice ball, so they are wired here in the Lone Star State. First shot, a nice rip of the rack on the left hand. I have a feeling the fans this evening might root for anybody who throws strikes.
That's possible, but I think there's going to be a little extra rooting for Pete McCordick if he can get a
Look at the graphic here. 250.50 on the television pair. And those games, to be more specific, 235 and 266.
Just like that.
And Pete, with a smile on his face, would dearly love to win his first PBA title in his home state of Texas.
And if Pete gets off to a quick start in this game, it's going to make it really tough for Purvis. When people are shouting Pete, Pete, Pete like that for your opponent, it has a way of intimidating you.
There you see, 33 years of age. He is the elder statesman on tonight's telecast.
By far.
Nice average on the week. And Pete McCordick, thrilling bowling fans all over the world with that magnificent, perfect game. And oh, my goodness, he has a very quick double as his wife looks on, and I wonder if she's expecting another perfect game this evening.
Well, not after 2 in a row. I mean, but she wouldn't turn it down.
Oh, my goodness, that was such a thrilling, perfect game at Gable House in Torrance, California, the Los Angeles Open during the winter tour. Now you see the right-hander from Mansoura, Louisiana, pretty close to Alexandria, Louisiana, Purvis Granger. Finished second last year in the PBA Rookie of the Year voting. And Purvis Granger says, well, I know you shot 300 earlier this year, Pete McCordick, but I'm going to stay right with you.
And earlier this year, or I think it was actually last year in Las Vegas, Purvis Granger tied a PBA record when he tied Norm Duke, when both of them bowled 300 versus 300.
Wow, that's pretty tough. When to win a match, you got to throw 12 in a row, and then you walk away with 15 bonus pins. Wow. Purvis Granger, 23 years of age, 5'11", 150 pounds. And there you see the career earnings. Not too bad, considering he's only been a pro 4 years. Really has only bowled full-time 2 years on the tour.
Very accurate, keeps the ball in play always. Knocks out that 10-pin.
The 10-pin has been a problem of sorts this week, hasn't it, Mike?
Been a lot of them. We watched the match play here. We've seen a lot of solid 10s. Get a picture of his straight swing here, right over the target, just right of that second arrow. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right, just nick that 10-pin. And a little animation there from Purvis.
So we've had 5 shots and 5 strikes. Let's hope the trend continues.
High, soft, just soft with that speed, 3-6-10.
There you see the average this week, 216.21, high game of 279. That was last night. Out of Houston, Texas, the pride and joy. Has always lived in that area. And he'll be a Hook'em Horns favorite forever, probably. Huh?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yep.
Cross lane at the 3-6-10. Straight. And, ooh, just got that 3-pin.
A little McCordick body English as he shakes his head, breathes for a fresh air, and he was a little fortunate there, wasn't he?
Straightens this shot out a little bit here. Pete with a reasonably high backswing. Head steady. Right straight up with the follow-through.
Pete McCordick, in 14 years, no PBA titles, but he's won over $500,000 on the tour.
The most by anybody that's a non-champion.
And he's finished second 6 times. Needs to come back with a strike. Oh, and he trips out the 4 on lane 29. So McCordick strikes, but he trails by 13. This man right here is perfect through 3 frames.
Goods Furniture of Boyertown wants you to know the verdict from our insurance company is in. Our barn must be renovated. That means we must sell the furniture. Appliances, carpeting, bedding, and everything else in our 50,000 square foot warehouse. Save like never before on names like Broyhill, Lane, Bassett, Westinghouse, and Sealy. We must move thousands of dollars of new merchandise now to make our deadline of renovating the barn. Shop now to save. Shop now for the best selection. The verdict is in. Shop Goods Furniture of Boyertown now and save.
Scenic River Days 87, a celebration of music, art, food, and fun, will be held July 29th through August 2nd at Redding's Riverfront Park. Scenic River Days special entertainment features jazz great Dizzy Gillespie, songstress Maria Muldauer, folk singer David Bromberg, and comedian Rita Rudner. Tickets for these performances available at the Ticket Center, 435 Walnut Street, Redding, or phone 374-3161.
And plenty of links coverage coming up on ESPN. The British Open Golf Championship, the 116th version, live first and second round coverage. First round tomorrow at 9 a.m., so get up early to watch that Eastern Daylight Time. And, of course, second round coverage on Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And they're playing at Muirfield, and they have got a bunker on the 13th hole left of the green, Mike Durbin. You need a hook and ladder to get out of that thing. Will be a tremendous championship, and, of course, the first 2 rounds of the British Open live on ESPN. And back to Austin, Texas. Purvis Granger with the turkey to start the opening game here. And he leads by 13.
5 steps. Knocks that 10-pin right out of there.
Well, it's that slappy K10 pin shot. A little half hit in the pocket, but the 6-pin does the job.
Right. We've got 3 Texans on this telecast, and Purvis Granger's trying to say, hey, I'm going to knock these Texans right out of here.
The way they started to stack up, I thought Willie Nelson was going to make the telecast here last night. Did he qualify in this tournament? 23-pin lead, and boy, for Pete McCordick, the shoe is on the other foot right now, isn't it?
Right now it is. By the way, in that game that he shot 300, he beat Wayne Webb, who bowled 249 in that game. So it wasn't that Webb bowled poorly. For 5.
Well, Purvis Granger a bit acrobatic on lane 29. Likes the strike, and Granger is out of the gates in a hurry, and he's near the halfway pole, and he's leading by 33.
Hard to win when your opponent doesn't stop striking. McCordick right now just has to strike here to put some pressure back on Granger. It's almost a must strike, and we're only in the 5th frame.
Boy, look at the determination in that face. McCordick knows he needs it in a hurry. Gives it plenty of room. It comes whistling back, and that's 10 in the pit.
That's responding to. That's a veteran.
Ah, and there you see his brother Paul there next to his lovely wife. Paul will bowl next week down in Edmond, Oklahoma. Or is that up in Edmond, Oklahoma?
It's up in Edmond.
I guess you would say it would be up at the Hammer Open, and so we'll have the McCordick twins bowling next week. Wouldn't that be interesting if they both made the show?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, Pete and Paul.
And if we got Mary, we'd be right there, huh?
Trips at 4 again. There we go. Well, McCordick finds a little magic on the left-hand lane and looks back at brother Paul with a grimace on his face.
And again, he thinks this ball is going to be solid. The last 2, he gives it lots of room, but it starts hooking too soon. Look at the 2-pin, 3rd from the left, gets both the 4 and the 7. And that's reminiscent of Pete Tontis, proprietor from last week.
That's right. Heading into this match this evening, Purvis Granger, 1-3 in championship round final appearances.
He says, what am I supposed to do? I start with 5 in a row, and I'm only up by 13 pins.
Keep striking.
Leaves the 10-pin.
Nice appreciative round of applause here, and the fans in Austin have just been spectacular this week. They really enjoyed their bowling. Anytime you cheer practice balls,
you're a little
exciting
enthusiastic,
group. Yeah,
right?
you bet.
Well,
Well, Harry Golden, the PBA's national tournament director, always does such a great job of warming up the crowd. Tonight, I think he had to calm them down a little bit in the practice section. Cross alley spare for Purvis Granger, who now leads by 12, but keep in mind, McCordick is working on a turkey.
Right now, Granger's going at a 2:39 pace, and McCordick at a 2:27. So only 12 pins heading into the 7th frame. You can see the score right there.
And that crackling of pins you hear in the background is 23-year-old Chris Warren, who is loosening up on the practice pair. Wait till you get a look at him. Boy, is he exciting.
115 pounds of dynamite.
Yep, soaking wet.
Ooh! First mistake and gets the full penalty. 4, 6, 7 through the heart of the pins. And things are looking better for McCordick.
Almost seemed like Purvis that time a little slower, perhaps, with the speed.
Sometimes the adrenaline drops just a little bit when you end that string. Throws hard at the 4-7. Pins have bounced out all week long, but not this time.
Well, this match has turned around considerably here. McCordick now leads by 2. He's got a 3-bagger, pondering perhaps 2 more strikes.
The upset of the week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. 49-year-old Bobby Allison surprised everyone at the Firecracker 400 with a come-from-behind victory. With 5 laps to go, Allison was behind a pack of 12 drivers and thought he was a lap down. However, Allison passed all 12 cars in 3 laps and held on to win, despite Ken Schrader's spectacular crash coming down the home stretch. The Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Soon this street will be teeming with people, tasting exotic foods from all over the world. Thank you. Is it good?
Good and spicy.
Now Anne is about to experience a problem that's universal.
I've got heartburn. Can you beat that?
As a matter of fact, I can.
Pepto for heartburn?
Sure.
As Pepto coats, it soothes heartburn, as well as upset stomach and diarrhea.
I didn't know you could conquer. I can't.
Pepto-Bismol, the one that coats, is the only one you need.
America's best amateur athletes are ready to shine. The 1988 Summer and Winter Olympics are approaching fast, but gold medal dreams begin at the U.S. Olympic Festival, July 16th through the 26th, live on ESPN.
And no, the players weren't playing bingo this week. This is a look at how they finished round by round. Boy, look at the most consistent player, Kent Wagner, no lower than 5th at any time this week.
And we see that once match play took over, which is the start of the 4th round, Philip Ringeter took over and led all the way through. First every round in the finals.
And back to live action. Pete McCordick leads by 2 pins, and he is up in the 7th frame. Right-hand lane, lane 30 here at Westgate Lanes. McCordick working on a 3-bagger.
And he's got to make sure he keeps his speed up. It's soft and it's going to go through the heart of the pins. Well, he did it. Now we'll see what kind of adjustment he makes on lane 29 that he considers. I know he told me earlier that he thought lane 29 was a little bit tighter. And so he's been playing it that way, but he's gone high the last 2 times on it. Been fortunate to trip out that 4-pin both times. Let's see if he makes a little adjustment with his feet. He's looking down at the boards already.
Big shot from McCordick, who could really take command here.
And go up by 20 with 1 more. Oh, knocks that 10-pin out. Interesting. The 10-pin has been left all week long so much, and we haven't seen it yet.
I'd venture to say it'll make an appearance somewhere along the way.
Take it back. We did see it from Granger in the 6th, but not the solid 10 that we saw all week long.
I saw some ringing 10s, as they like to call them. Some solid 8s as well. Wow. Solid 8s are good in Vegas, but not here, huh? Purvis Granger trying to regroup and return the favor.
It's that light hit. As Billy Whalen used to say, hit him thin and watch him spin.
Well, Granger has a possible 255. However, his opponent could strike out and shoot a big 277.
The last 2 weeks, at least one of our bowlers has bowled in the 260s in the opening game.
All right, Mark McDowell really lit it up this past week. Shot, what, 268 in the opening game, I think.
And before that, Amleto beat Dave Arnold 260 to 250. So we see the scoreboard right there. Granger down 22 pins, and he has to strike here in the 9th frame to keep himself alive.
As Mike mentioned, to make his last 4 telecasts, Purvis has had to win his position round game to get there, so he bowls well under pressure.
Boy, was that a pretty nice, smooth shot all the way.
Silky, just a very professional shot there, realizing his only chance was to strike. So McCordick, who still leads by 12, could really slam the door on Purvis here.
There's a lot of room. Knocks that 10 pin out of there. Big shot.
I talked to Pete just before the telecast this evening, Mike, and I said, you know, I know it's been frustrating for you not having won a title, but shooting the 300 game, isn't life just a lot easier for you now, especially the bowling? And he said, no question about it.
Pete gets the first one in the 10th here, Dan, and he's going to be a winner, regardless of what Granger does. We still have a potential tie. We could have a tie. Is he going to fall? Yes!
Well, the old hesitation 10 finally dropped on the left-hand lane, and McCordick comes up a winner here in game number 1, and he got himself a bit of a break, I think.
Gives it a lot of room. Ball comes in behind the headpin in the 1-3 pocket. Watch the 6. Lean on the 10, hit the bottom of it, and knocked it over.
Uh-huh. Big shot from McCordick, who gets out of the gate in a hurry. And gives it a little room, leaves the bucket, but doesn't really make much difference
Not at this point.
Possible 263 should McCordick convert. And there you see Purvis Granger thinking to himself, you know, I'm going to shoot 255 here and come up with an L on my record.
And one of the last times that he made the championship round, he bowled Dave Houston, who bowled 290 at him. So he's had some big scores shot at him on television.
Purvis has been much too nice, don't you think? I mean, hospitality's one thing, but he is a terrific youngster, though. Really loves to bowl. Terrific competitor and an outstanding player. He's going to win some titles out here sooner or later, but the veteran Pete McCordick, who trailed at one stage by 33 pins, came back for the big win.
Leaves a 10.
Never fails, they don't fall. And you don't really need it. Purvis just will finish out the game here. And Pete McCordick mopping his brow, realizing he's got one under his belt, but he still has a long way to go.
But he's got an opponent coming up next who should be extremely nervous. Chris Warren from Dallas. 2 Texas boys. We'll see who's going to win between Dallas and Houston here.
That's right. Who will the fans know who to cheer for? I know there are several people who have made the trek from Dallas to come over and watch Chris Warren bowl.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're a Vegas odds maker right now. The odds of a Texan winning this one have to be pretty good right now.
Even money bet. So a 230 game for Purvis Granger. Handshake there from Pete McCordick. Just not quite good enough. And Pete acknowledging the fans here in Austin, Texas, in his home state. And Pete, I think, relaxing just a little bit at this stage, realizing he's over one hurdle and has his rhythm, and he'll have an opportunity to bowl Chris Warren out of Dallas coming up next. And, boy, he is a talented player. Should be an outstanding match. Stay tuned.
It's your call. You can enjoy the fresh baked quality from Domino's Pizza or take your chances with the Noid. You can have pizza made to your order, or you can count on our famous 30-minute delivery, or you can taste the quality from Domino's Pizza, so avoid the Noid. Domino's Pizza delivers. Call now.
painting is hard work. So you want a paint that works hard for you. A paint that covers in one coat. A paint that's washable. A paint that lasts a long time. A quality paint that's backed by research and careful manufacturing. That's why you should demand Dutch Boy.
Dutch boy never lets up. He always looks good. He works hard for your money.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Bowling News from Westgate Lanes in Austin, Texas. And coming up this weekend, believe it or not, the top junior bowlers from the United States, Canada, Puerto Rico, and also overseas military commands will be competing for over $40,000 in scholarship funds in the Young American Bowling Alliance's National Junior Championship. So good luck to the juniors down in Memphis, Tennessee. Meanwhile, up in Connecticut, Alita Sill has won back-to-back Women's All-Star Association Championships, while down south in Atlanta, in the most recent Southern PBA regional event, it was Curtis Odom coming up a victor down there. We also want to congratulate at this point in time Chuck Milhelm as the newly elected president of the Billiard and Bowling Institute of America. Congratulations to Chuck. Last week, I updated you on the high scores throughout the country as far as the ladies were concerned, so tonight we might as well take a look at the outstanding male performances here in 1987. Midway Lanes, bowling out of Minot, North Dakota, leads A&G Properties of Seattle by just 1 pin, while Ron's Pro Shop and Wixon's Bakery are just off the pace. Meanwhile, the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, is represented by Concept 3. They're leading the way in the top team single game category, while Chilton Vending, bowling out of Wichita, Kansas, is currently holding down the runner-up position. There used to be a day when an 800 series drew rave reviews, but bowling in the 80s has produced some gigantic scores. Case in point, the top 3-game series is a brilliant 879 recorded by David Emmerich of East Petersburg, Pennsylvania. Now, it's hard to believe that an 868 series is only good enough for a tie for third place so far this year. And speaking of telephone numbers, long-distance style, feast your eyes on this astronomical figure. Just this past weekend, John Strasbaugh of York, Pennsylvania, bowling in a tournament in Columbia, Pennsylvania, became only the 8th man in bowling history to roll 3 perfect games in a row. What makes John's 900 series so spectacular is the fact that he recorded the 3 perfect games on 3 different pairs of lanes. Now the bad news. It was unsanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, so therefore the 886, authored by the legendary Allie Brandt way back in 1939, still stands as the official ABC 3-game record. And joining me now, the last PBA member, or I should say the longest time, 20 years ago, to shoot 300, and also the most recent member of the PBA to shoot 300 on national television, Jack Bianalillo and Pete McCordick. Jack, first question for you, age before beauty, obviously. What was going through your mind back in 1967 at the Firestone Tournament of Champions? You're standing up on the approach, 12-shot, and you get the 300 game.
Well, Denny, I'll tell you, I never, while I was on tour, ever had any occasion to come close to freezing. But on that particular moment, I was walking over to get the bowling ball, and I picked it up. My legs were shaking just like a leaf, and I got on the approach, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was going to freeze. Now, real quick, I said, Lord, if you ever help me now. And then all the years of training and practice took over, and God willing, it all worked out.
That's right, and of course you had plenty of hair back then. That was what,
yeah, 30 pounds less.
Now let's move to the most recent PBA member to shoot 300 on national television. We might mention at this point Jack Bianalillo will receive $10,000 for that 300 game. Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas, cashed in, true value-wise, for $100,000 earlier this year. That's a big-time paycheck.
That was by far the biggest check of my career, and probably will be.
Really has changed your life, I would imagine, at this point, all the publicity with the 300 game on national TV?
Yes, I'm a lot more recognized now. I get a few more exhibition offers, sign a lot more autographs, and the crowd gets behind me more because they recognize the name, so it helps.
Of course, you've hired an accountant as well, probably. Well, let's go back to January 1987, Torrance, California. We'll let Pete pick it up at this point. We're in the 12th and final frame.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the first step in the push away right, and then just let the ball go. I thought I got it in just a touch, but halfway down the lane, I knew it was going to hit dead flush, and just wanted all the points to get out.
Boy, it was knee buckling time. I can remember watching your face and your hand. Everything was shaking. What about your knees at that point?
Oh, I was more nervous I've ever been in my life. I've been married twice, and I was by far more nervous this time. I just, like I said, just wanted to get the first step right, the first way right, and just let all the years practice take over.
Boy, they sure did. Beautiful 300 game at Gable House in Torrance, California, in the Los Angeles Open. Jack, let's go back to a point that you and I chatted about before the show here this evening. It's got to be a lot more difficult to shoot 300 on national television than it would be in league play.
Well, Denny, definitely, because anytime you bowl a perfect game, number one, you've got to be very fortunate. Things have got to be going for you. But when you're on national television, you have the heat, you have the silence, the pressure, the inner pressure. And I think the biggest thing really is the gripping of the bowling ball, because on national television, it's extremely hot. On color television, it's like 122 degrees at the foul line. And therefore, your whole body functions differently. But all the pressure of the people and everything put together, it's definitely different.
Okay, just one final question now for Pete McCordick. You've shot the 300, you got the $300,000, or I should say the $100,000 from True Value. Do you think, Pete, that you'll ever shoot another 300 on national television again, or what, would it be easier the second time?
I think it's going to be a little bit tougher, mainly because when I shot the 300 game the first time, I didn't even think about shooting a 300 until the 10th frame. Now people almost expect me to, or not expect me to, but they keep reminding me that I can, since I've done it once, I can do it again. Maybe in that respect I can, but it's awful tough to think about shooting 300 from the first frame on.
That's right, you have to take one step at a time. Boy, it sure is nice rubbing elbows with perfection here, and that's this week's edition of the Bowling News. And coming up next in the $115,000 Austin Open, something old and something new. Chris Warren and Pete McCordick.
Hi. I've been looking all over for this terrific video cassette I heard about. It's called Not So Great Moments in Sports. Like one scene is where Billy Martin tries to give an ump a shoe shine.
That's a fantastic video. Not So Great Moments is 45 minutes of the funniest sports footage I've ever seen.
Great, so you have it.
No, it's not in video stores yet. But you get Not So Great Moments free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. You get 25 weeks of America's best sports coverage, including the Pro Football Spectacular and the beautiful swimsuit issue. You even get a handy NFL schedule.
And Not So Great Moments in Sports?
You get it all.
How do I get it?
Just call Sports Illustrated's toll-free number.
Yeah, I'll bet they raised the price of the magazine, right?
It's over 47% off the cover price. Just 3 installments of $9.89 each. You can even put it on a credit card.
I gotta get to a phone. What's that number again?
Here, 1-800-621-8000.
Hi, have you heard of Not So Great Moments in Sports?
A few words about Royal Oak Charcoal with Mesquite. It comes in a bright yellow bag, starts fast, burns slow, gives everything you cook sweet, mellow mesquite flavor. Royal Oak, now with 33% more mesquite. That's a tall order.
Winners know what it takes to win. In this game, it takes more control, more power, more precision, more curve. One ball has it all. One ball dominates winning on the Pro Tour. The Black U-Dot from Columbia 300. The Black U-Dot, the ball of champions. Columbia 300, sold only in lanes or pro shops.
She's the hottest player on the ladies' tour. Jane Geddes is attempting to capture her second consecutive Boston 5 Classic title. Live coverage starts Friday at 4 Eastern on ESPN.
And live tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the U.S. Olympic Festival 87 from North Carolina. Live coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. They'll have the swimming finals, some freestyle wrestling, and also the diving preliminaries. Greg Louganis will be involved, and you don't get much better than that. The outstanding action tomorrow night on ESPN. Here is a look at match number 1 graphically, 263 to 230. A 7-bagger in the middle of that game for Pete McCordick, who is picking up right where he left off out in California.
Certainly is. But 300's not on his mind right now. Winning each game is on his mind, and winning that first PBA title.
And he'll match up with just a youngster out of Dallas, Texas, Chris Warren. So McCordick elects to start on the left-hand lane, lane 29. Pete with 9 X's in the opening game.
And he was telling us in between games that the left lane now is hooking more than the right lane. He starts with a strike.
Do you think he made the adjustment with his feet and his mark? It seems like he's moved a little left on the approach, Mike.
It does appear that he's tightened up the line just a little bit so that the ball goes a little bit straighter down the lane. It doesn't arc quite as much as he was doing earlier in the other game.
And there you get a profile look at young Chris Warren, his first ever appearance on national television. First time he's ever made it to the top 24, let alone the top 5.
Well, we got some Dallas fans here cheering for this young man. Plus, he brought his whole family with him.
Oh, well, if you can understand why there's so much cheering, he is one of 10 children. That's right. 7 boys and 3 girls. And his lovely mother, Mary, is on hand here this evening. 212.85 average, high game of 279. And this youngster can strike with the best of them. And there you see Mom right there. I asked her if she was nervous. She said, heck no, I bowl in plenty of tournaments myself. Why would I be nervous? Then I asked her, how much money do you get if Chris wins tonight? And she said, oh, nothing. I'll just give it all to him.
Boy, these young kids come up 23 years old. His first 2 shots on national television. He starts with 2 strikes and comes in light here and just blows them out of there. There's his reaction. Look at the eyes.
I like the haircut myself.
McCordick trying to stay with him. And there's what we saw all week long, that solid 10.
Now, let me ask you, Mike, is there more pressure on Pete McCordick because he's the veteran he's supposed to win, or is there more pressure on the youngster because he's never been there before?
There's more pressure on the youngster, I think. McCordick right now, even though he's behind in the match early, I think has to be the favorite in this match. That'll probably eliminate him right there, but...
A pair of Texans hooked up in game number 2 of the Austin Open. Hang on. Okay.
Never a doubt.
Well, we've seen a number of 10 pins missed this week as well, Mike.
We certainly have. First night of match play, we saw quite a few 10 pins missed.
Mm-hmm. McCordick trails by 10 in the early go as Chris Warren opens with a double.
Four pin. And McCordick, who didn't get tapped at all in the first game, suddenly left a 10 and a 4 back-to-back here.
Well, you saw him waving, hey, fall back and go to the right because he knew that the shot was going to be a touch high when he let it go.
Well, he got that break tripping 2 of those 4 pins out, and there we see his career TV record, dismal, 4 and 16. Now it's 5 and 16.
It's getting better all the time.
Almost got careless there with that 4 pin.
So McCordick spares in the second and third 2 pretty good shots, left a solid 10 in the second. But Chris Warren will step up. And regardless of where he finishes this evening, he'll pick up his largest PBA paycheck ever. Win or lose here, he's guaranteed at least $5,000.
Boy, it made it back a long way. I didn't think it was going to get there, and it almost got a blowout strike, left the 10 pin, keeping this match within 10 pins here.
Well, last night, Chris got a little frustrated because he was number 2 heading into the position round, the final game of the tournament last night. And bold Philip Ringner, of course, who had the unsurmountable lead. But Chris was just trying to hang on to second place, and Kent Wagner went around him. And he left a swishing 7-10 last night in the middle of that game.
Right. At the 10 pin. Hard and straight. Ooh. The inexperience. Even though the ball bounced out of the channel to make that 10 pin, it does not count. Once it goes into the channel, it's like a 10,000-foot cliff. And he gets no pins for that effort. It bounces out and up to make it, but once it goes into the channel, it's no pins for that delivery.
Well, one might expect a mental error from a player who's never had an opportunity to bowl under the lights. But, let's see how he bounces back from adversity here.
So the Brooklyn didn't get over there. Lapse in concentration. He's definitely a little bit rattled right now. He's talking to himself, having a little conversation here.
Just trying to settle himself down a little bit, I would imagine.
And needs to, but he's still in the match. He's only 2 pins down. His opponent has not doubled yet, so he's right there.
Just make the spare. sit down, catch a breath of fresh air, and head on to the fifth frame.
Right now, he's looking forward to this commercial break coming up because it'll give him a chance to relax a little bit and get his composure back together.
You know, he bowled just super all week long. Going to be an amazing experience for him. And he covers up the spare on the 3-pin on the left-hand lane. So McCordick leads by 2 as we're in the opening stages of match number 2. Stay tuned.
Happening now. It's an awesome furniture warehouse sale at Unclaimed Price. Over $2 million in famous name furniture must be sold. That's savings of 40 to 72%. Save on furniture for your summer, cottage, or home. Space saver bunk beds, double duty sleep sofas, rugged den sets, living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, dinettes, and more. All brand new furniture at savings of 40 to 72% at Unclaimed Price. It's great.
Hey, it's me, Cindy. It's French. It's Continental. I love it. I love it.
HBO takes you to Paris for the television concert debut of a one-of-a-kind musical performer. It's Cyndi Lauper in Paris.
Right here on HBO.
Exclusive. Get the biggest stories from the fastest tracks with Bob Jenkins and Larry Newber host ESPN Speed Week. Thursday nights at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN.
And the action will be baseline to baseline. Coming up on ESPN, the U.S. Clay Court Championships from Indianapolis, July 18th, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. July 19th at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Andres Gomez is the defending champion. They'll be shooting for $375,000 in prize money. Great tennis coming your way. And there is the proprietor here at Westgate Lanes in Austin, Texas, Jerry Ray, the president of Family Sports. And he has dished out the Texas hospitality all week long.
Jerry's just a super nice guy. He's treated us really well this week, as we see. Again, our airplane view here.
Ah, yes. Up in the chicken coop. Pete McCordick looking for a strike in the 4th.
Well, that's how you get that 10-pin out of there. He circled that one a little bit more, and when he does that, it seems to just hook back solid.
When you say circle it, Mike, explain that.
Well, instead of going straighter down the lane there, he gave that ball a little bit more room, a little bit more lift and turn, and went around with the ball. The ball arced a little bit more going down the lane, and when it came back, it was just flush.
It's interesting when you talk about rotation and the way the ball spins. Well, the tip coming up here at the game number 2, Mike, describes what happens when the ball rolls down the lane, the rotation of the ball. So you want to stay tuned for that.
For the double. And is it going to have that tight hit? He got the 4-pin out, but left a solid 9.
Ouch.
Ouch is right. Watch the ball. As it goes through, it'll chop the 5 off the 9. See, that's right, finished right through, and then that pin
just
wiggled it.
Boy, oh boy. Yes. And you can't say what Pete McCordick is probably thinking right now about that solid 9. Boy, that'll drive you batty.
Yes,
oh,
I know the
absolute
feeling.
Terrific shot. Yeah, I know you do. That would have been for the double, too, which is what he really needed.
Right.
Well, Chris Warren mopping his brow, realizing that there's no time like the present to get started on that string once again.
He's talking to himself again out there.
Most bowlers do, don't they, by the end of that championship round?
I guess. 5 very quick steps. Somebody yelling hook, and it sure did. I'll tell you what.
And there's the cheering section from the Big D from Dallas, Texas. And plenty of support here this evening. Well, you mentioned the fact that these 2 players are from Texas. Philip Ringner, the top seed, is also from Texas, Big Spring, Texas, over in the Midland area.
Two pins of difference, but Warren's on that strike. Oh, perfect.
Well, all 5'5", 115 pounds, comes back with a pressurized double there. Nice shot.
Well, it wasn't McCordick's fault. McCordick left that solid 9, or he'd still be in the lead. But now he finds himself trailing by 8, and the pressure shifts back to him.
Time to counterpunch now for Pete McCordick.
4 steps, head steady, good follow through, and a solid 10 again. He's got a solid 2 solid 10s, a solid 4, and a solid 9 in 6 frames. And that's what we saw all week long, is that kind of carry. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right. Not even got close to that 10-pin.
McCordick will shoot the cross alley spare. And
no mistakes.
Without
down
a doubt,
by 8.
The turkey.
Back down by and he made the mistake.
Well, obviously the right-hand lane may be a little tougher when you're shooting at the corner pin, the 10-pin, than might look to the television viewers, because Chris Warren also threw it off the edge down there.
It's just a mistake by both players, a rookie and a veteran, and you make mistakes like that in the championship round, it usually comes back to give you serious headaches.
Well, McCordick now trails by 20.
And now his concentration's a little bit rattled. The composure just goes a little bit when you make a mistake like that. You know that you shouldn't make a mistake. You've had too much experience. You get a chance. You practice for a half hour before time, and you can shoot those 10 pins, and you know where to stand and where to aim, and you miss it anyway.
Yeah, many of the bowling fans don't realize the pros practice the strike balls, but after they get lined up, then they start shooting spares whenever the opportunity presents itself, because that's half the game. So McCordick covers up the dinner bucket, but he still trails at this point by 20 pins. Chris Warren could make it a 4-bagger if he continues to strike.
Ironman triathlete Mark Allen. Kellogg's Pro Grain. Ironman food. Power pack with wheat, corn, oats. Thiamine, niacin, riboflavin. Vitamins A, C, B6, B12, and iron. Honey toasted for great taste. New Kellogg's Pro Grain cereal. Ironman food.
Isn't it about time you developed your most important asset? Yourself, your confidence, your success potential. Discover the new Personal Improvement Handbook you can use every day. Self-analysis by best-selling author L. Ron Hubbard. Now at D. Dalton's or wherever paperbacks are sold. Buy it. Use it. Because if you're not moving up, you're falling behind.
And there's a look at the largest crowd ever to show up for the televised finals of the Austin Open. Excellent crowds all week long, and there you see some of the lovely ladies representing the state of Texas.
And there are some pretty ladies in the state of Texas.
You're not lying there. This guy probably knows a few. Chris Warren.
I left a few at the bowling center that I worked at up in Fort Worth.
That's right. Chris leads by 20.
5 very quick steps. I'll tell you what, who needs experience, huh?
Hey, this is learning on the job.
Right. Now watch his hand release as he comes through this ball. High backswing. Now watch. Snaps it through like so many of these players do today, Dan.
Well, you need the super slow-mo there, huh? It's almost a blur when that hand comes out of the ball. Wow.
But it's a clean release. The kid doesn't make many bad releases. See his wrist cupped as he's starting there. He can make it almost insurmountable if he strikes here.
Oh, he's giving it the windmill shot there. Did you see that?
Like Mark McDowell last week.
Sure, he was calling the cows home there on the left-hand lane. Left the solid 10. Hey, what?
And he's got his lasso out here.
I don't know, is he loosening up his arm socket or what?
Definite windmill there.
I'll tell you one thing, he could direct some traffic here in Austin, couldn't he?
They do have a little bit of traffic here, too.
Oh, he's a lot of fun to watch. He put on a great show here last night. Fans were going crazy.
He missed one, but not this one.
This goes to show you, though, Mike, you know, when you look at players, he only weighs 115 pounds, and yet he's out-hooking the field at this point.
And it's one of the beauties of the sport of bowling is, you know, you've got Steve Cook, the defending champion here at 6'7", 260 pounds, and Chris Warren, a chance to win here at 5'5", 115.
Yeah.
Both of them can take up this sport.
That's a Mutt and Jeff routine, huh?
McCordy has to strike here. He's a veteran. He knows the situation right now, and what the situation is that he is still potential 217 if he would strike all the way out. Right now, Chris Warren is going at a 216 pace if he would strike spare the rest of the way out. So McCordick is still alive, but there's not much oxygen available.
Well, this is Pete's 17th appearance in the nationally televised finals, and we've already mentioned he's finished second 6 times, and his brother Paul finished second in the Denver Open back in 1982. So the McCordick family now has 7 second-place finishes, and they want to end the streak right here this evening.
Tie. Breaks it down, but leaves the 6-pin, and unless Chris Warren falls apart in the 9th and 10th frame, he's going to win.
Now Warren has a possible 236.
McCordick had to strike on that shot to give himself any possible life at all.
Amazing. McCordick throws 9 strikes in the opening game, including a 7-bagger to win 263-230 over Purvis Granger. And then he struggles in game number 2. I think, you know, Mike, you can relate to this obviously much better than most people, and any of the PBA pros that bowl on television. The lanes change so quickly during the championship finals that you just have to be on top of it all the time.
He kept the ball in the pocket. I think the turning point in there was back in the 5th frame when he left that solid 9-pin there, and he followed it up with a solid 10 and missed it. But if he'd carried that 9, the momentum would have been on his side. He'd increased his lead into double figures. Warren needing a mark in the last 2 frames, and that's the best kind of mark right there.
Well, there's his mother. Mary applauding the shot.
And right now, he just needs to show up for the 10th frame. He can open in the 10th frame and still win the match.
His mom told me before the telecast this evening that she basically took Chris bowling for the first time, I think she said, when he was 12, and he loved it. Some of the other boys also bowling as well. She's got a tennis player in there, and she's got a whole assortment. It's a very athletic family.
Well, she's got enough of them, huh?
I was going to say, with 7... You can play field hockey with 7, can't you? Almost baseball. A couple of the girls like sports, right? Boy, he has been impressive.
What is it? 7 boys and 3 girls? Is
yep.
That's
the way it matched up.
Wow.
Talk about sibling rivalries. Boy, like a standing room only crowd.
I know what it's like with 3. I hate to think what it's like with 10. I'll tell you.
Right.
And the 4-pin, he's going to shoot in the 220s. Not bad for his first game on national television. Disposes of a fellow Texan, and Dallas beat Houston again.
Oh, we better get out of this state in a hurry because there are a few Houston Oiler fans, probably Pete McCordick among those, and Jack Biondelillo.
Well, he says who needs to make
a whiff, yeah, a whiff of the 4-pin, but it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference because Warren finishes with 224. Pete McCordick will complete his match now, and for his efforts this week, Pete McCordick will take home a check worth $5,000. And for Pete McCordick, and that'll raise his yearly earnings to $140,623. Still number 2 on the PBA's list behind Pete Weber, but $140,000, ooh, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but I bet you right now he'd trade some of that money for 1 title.
Well, I can't disagree with you there. Pete McCordick has come so close to winning a couple of times, too. I think he shot 176 and tied one time and had to go into roll-off.
With Brian Boss back in Detroit. I remember that show.
Boy, he's come awful close and has had some frustrating times, but is a legend in his own time, I guess, now because of the 300 game in California earlier this winter.
It's made him a national figure, that's for sure.
the ups and downs of professional bowling. So McCordick finishes with 187, and there you see Chris Warren. Congratulations between two fellow Texans. Fans appreciating both players' efforts, and coming up next, it's the battle of the mini-mites. Kent Wagner and also Chris Warren. Both of those players can strike, but don't forget, Mike's tip is coming up next. Stay tuned.
Does painting your home seem like an almost endless job? You need the help of products from True Value Hardware stores. This Werner 6-foot step ladder flips up to become an extended ladder of over 10 feet, and it's just $69.88. Then the Wagner 10-piece power painter cuts work time by covering big areas fast, and it's only $88.88. And seal cracks with Red Devil lifetime siliconized caulk. Earn a $1 mail-in rebate when you buy it for just $1.66 at participating True Value Hardware stores.
Mornings at our summer place start early. While the sun's just a glimmer, I'm up fixing those homemade biscuits everyone loves. Why, I don't think the birds wake up till they smell those biscuits. And there's always someone who seems to know just when that coffee's brewed and that bacon's crisp, and sure enough, he's ready for a helping. Well, all I can say to that is, good morning. Welcome to McDonald's.
Serving up summertime at McDonald's.
Looks simple, doesn't it? We've all seen it 1,000 times before. The ball arcs down the lane, breaks into the 1-3 pocket for what seems like a perfect strike. But what really happens to that ball is it makes its trip down the lane. Let me show you. Let's suppose that I let that ball go on the side of the ball with the fingers at about 3 o'clock. Now keep in mind that ball will be traveling toward you, but as it's traveling towards you, it'll be spinning in this direction. And it will continue to spin like this as long as it meets non-friction. That is, oil or dressing on the lane. Now, as it continues to travel down the lane, it'll start to run into the drier part of the lane, some dryness. And as it does that, the ball will begin to turn on its axis this way. This turning process is actually called precession. The Earth even precesses on its axis. As it finishes the precession, the ball then goes into a heavy roll and rolls into the pins thumb first. Now we're going to take another look at that tape that we saw in the opening, and I want you to watch that white dot that's on the ball. The white dot will almost appear to be stationary as the ball slides at first. Then it will start its trip left across the ball, and as it almost gets to the pins, it will almost disappear from view. That's when the ball is in the heavy roll. Let's take a look at that tape right now. See the tape? Stationary. Now it's moving left. It's all the way over left and almost gone from view, as we almost left the solid 8-pin on a perfect pocket hit. Now you may say to me, well, Mike, why is this important to me? Well, we're getting into a little bit more advanced stuff here now. As you progress in your ability in the sport of bowling, you have to get these finer points. And one of the finer points is learning to read the reaction of your bowling ball as it goes down the lane. Sometimes the ball goes too long and breaks too late. When that happens, it's possible to put weights in the bowling ball over on this side called negative weight that will help it go into a roll sooner. The opposite may be true sometimes. The ball may poke too soon, grab the lane too quickly. And we need to put different type of weights to make it go further down the lane. That's when we drill the ball with weights on the positive side. Positive weight make the ball slide longer and break later at the lane. These finer points sometimes are a little complicated and hard to learn, but once you do learn them and once you start to master the ability to read your ball as it goes down the lane, your average will definitely go up. We'll see you again next week.
All right, and here is now a look at the upcoming events on ESPN. The PBA Summer Tour continues. We'll be heading to the Sooner State for the $150,000 Hammer Open, live from Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma. And, of course, on July 29th, the Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And on down the line, August 5th, the Greater Buffalo Open from Cheektowaga, New York, Thruway Lanes. We had a great show there last year. And then on August 12th, that's also a Wednesday night, the Molson Golden Bowling Challenge, live and direct from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Now let's head down to the approach and the practice pair. My partner, Mike Durbin, is ready to speak with the top seed from Texas, Philip Ringner.
And I'm with Philip Ringner, who's bowled so well this week to lead this tournament. Philip, nice going so far this week. You have bowled just tremendous this week. You've been out on the tour for 8 years, but you'd never bowled for the PBA title. What's your game plan for that title match?
Well, I'm going to try to be as aggressive as I can and just take one step at a time and not try to make any mistakes tonight.
That's pretty good thinking right there, Philip. This week you bowled so well, better than I've ever seen you bowl before. Did you do anything different? Was there any thought process or something physical that you did that you bowled so well?
Well, my concentration was good this week. I can't control, I've concentrated so hard this week to try to make great shots. I changed my hand position just a little bit. I was under the ball, and I changed it to the side of the ball to spin it just a little bit through the heads a little bit more, and
it worked real well for you.
It worked great. I hope it works again tonight.
Okay, he says he's going to spin it in there, Denny. So let's wait and see if he does it.
Wouldn't surprise me at all, Mike Durbin. He was striking in practice. Coming up in the semifinal game, though, it's Kent Wagner and Chris Warren. Boy, these guys can flat bowl.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise endures. The promise of genuine quality. Quality you can taste. Clean, crisp, Beechwood aged Budweiser. Always certain, always satisfying. Because we know you wouldn't have it any other way. That's why this Bud's for you.
If you like your business news fresh each day, you ought to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Because unlike some things, news does not improve with age.
Call 800-228-1900 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-228-1900 now for the Wall Street Journal.
This was Matchlight Instant Lighting Charcoal. Now today's Matchlight. You can see the difference. Today's Matchlight lights twice as fast. Now, watch today's Matchlight spread. Fast. Which is why it's ready so fast. Lights fast, spreads fast. Today's Matchlight. It's twice as fast.
Everybody loves RoboCop. He's a stainless steel, unstoppable Clint Eastwood.
I really love that guy.
RoboCop is dead on, both as a thriller and an unexpected comedy. 2 thumbs up.
I like it!
Newsweek calls it slick, lively. Audiences will eat it up. RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
Rated R. Starts Friday, July 17th at a theater near you.
And the PBA Summer Tour schedule. As you see next week, the Hammer Open, $150,000 strong from Edmond, Oklahoma, Boulevard Bowl. The owner, Richard Altman, really rolls out the red carpet for the professionals and should be an outstanding field on hand. Wednesday, July 22nd, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Walter Ray Williams Jr., the defending champ. And last year, we had a terrific show there. Looking forward to going back.
And they have an outstanding Pro-Am event. Even better this year as we see the final score, 224 to 187. Chris Warren now taking on Kent Wagner.
And very quickly out of the gates, Kent Wagner with a strike, and he is the only titleist on the telecast this evening, so he knows what it's like to win.
But he's only won one game on national television.
You're right. He was 0 for 6, and then he beat Pete Weber in Las Vegas earlier this winter.
In that game, he started with the first 8 and left a 7-pin that definitely looked like it was going to go, but it didn't.
Well, if you're going to bowl against Pete Weber, you better start with the first 7 or 8. Ooh. That likened to a drive that didn't draw back. That one was almost out of bounds.
It looked like my drive, yeah. just gets his feet going too fast and gets the ball too wide, and it just never had a chance. It's out of bounds right here. He's fortunate to wind up with 7. 1, 2, 4. Not a difficult spare, but not the easiest one either. Trouble. Well, he says, is there another way to make it? Look at his eyes.
He walked back, and Chris knew that he got away with one there. But, hey, sometimes you need a little luck.
My father used to say he'd rather be lucky than good.
Mm-hmm. On the television pair, just to give you an idea, Chris Warren shot games of 211 and 219 for an average of 215.0. If I'm not mistaken, that was the lowest average of our top 5 finalists on lanes 29 and 30.
Interesting how in one match you can go along and not get those 10 pins and 4 pins at all, and then all of a sudden they start popping up.
Kind of amazing. We've already talked about Chris's family, 10 children, but he has a brother, Mike, who bowls just as well left-handed as he does right-handed. Averages 200 one way and about 195 the other. And there you see him right there.
Cross lane at the 10 pin, and we know that spares can be an adventure. This time, no problem.
And there's Mom. Chris told me it was okay if I called her Mom. He said everybody else does. So all the kids from the neighborhood do. Kent Wagner, 28 years of age. 87 average is outstanding, 214.09. And if you look in the money department, this guy's having a pretty solid year as well. 59,735, good for 11th on the top 20 PBA money list at this point in time.
His best record ever. Soft 10. Throwing the ball much straighter than he used to throw it and much harder than he used to throw it.
All in all, Mike, with the exception of Chris Warren, I should say, wouldn't you say that for the most part that the players that made the telecast this evening are pretty straight?
Yes, I would. And might explain to our viewers when I say that he left the soft 10 there, I mean that the 6-pin lays in the channel rather than whistling around it as it does with the hard 10.
Is it because the ball doesn't drive through the pocket, Mike, or is the angle bad, or what?
Watch it. We'll get a chance to see. If you can watch both things here, that the ball deflects as it hits the 1-3, and then the 6-pin lays down here. See the ball went to the right? That indicated that he didn't get out of that ball as cleanly as he wanted to, didn't get the finger lift. Now watch how early he gets the ball down, which is not recommended. He has to move those feet quickly to catch up. And he has to close that shoulder, no slide at the end, and look at the loft. Almost as far as Mark McDowell was doing last week, but not quite as far.
Well, I don't think there's any question about the fact that Kent Wagner is really kind of a feel bowler. He makes a lot of adjustments at the line with his wrist and his hand, doesn't he?
Well, he definitely isn't your classic textbook type, no.
Gets the job done, though.
Made a lot of money this year. He could make another $16,000 here tonight.
Yep. Winner of this match will face off with Phil Ringner in Big Spring, Texas.
$2-8, tough spare. Suddenly just fishing a little bit, especially on this right lane. Light twice in a row now.
Chris has been a professional member of the PBA for the past 4 years, and his career earnings of $17,635. So he could almost
4 PBA regional titles.
And in one of those regional titles, in Clovis, New Mexico, I believe, he won all 12 of his matches. He's a fine match play bowler, had an 18-6 record this week.
No problem with the 2-8.
There's a look at the scoreboard.
The spare that we've seen give some other bowlers on the tour serious problems. I used to always hate that thing.
Well, it's such a difficult spare. You have to approach it from just the right angle or you get 9.
Still looking for his first strike in the semifinal match.
Had 7 strikes in his first game. Victory. 224, 187. Over Pete McCordick. He likes this shot all the way. And he runs it out. And there you see the fist. As he strikes in the 4th, he trails by 3 here in the semifinal game of the $115,000 Austin Open.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's a Casablanca. We think it's the best fan ever made. It's quality throughout. Precision engineering, fine American craftsmanship.
And easy to install.
It even hangs on a slanted ceiling.
That's because of Casablanca's Hang True. One comes with every fan.
Get a ceiling fan from Casablanca, the company that cares about quality. Don't monkey around.
Available at A to Z Vacuum and Ceiling Fan Outlet, West Reading.
Dodge Van Factory Authorized Clearance Sale. Now through July 20th at your participating dealer, where you can get 3.7% financing or $750 cash back on full-size Dodge Ram vans and new Dodge conversion vans in stock, each backed by our new 770 protection plan. Choose cash back in a prospector package and save up to $1,500. And special factory incentives from Dodge to your dealer could mean additional savings. The Dodge Van Clearance Sale, now at your participating Dodge dealer.
Sunday, America's top athletes battle on ESPN. Olympic hopefuls go for the gold in breathtaking figure skating and diving competition. It's the U.S. Olympic Festival live. Then, the final showdown at the U.S. Open Clay Court Championships. The action is intense with the title on the line. Plus, Jane Geddes leads the LPGA's hottest golfers in the final round of the Boston 5 Classic live. Championship action, Sunday on ESPN.
And despite that the first 4 championships were bowled at Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas, we were at Westgate Lanes this year. But Steve Cook, Big Stiff Cook, won last year in a very tight match over Rod Pasteur. We'll take a look at that a little later on.
Pasteur also made the top 24 here this week.
Finished up 10th. Guppy Troop won in 85. Pete Weber in 84. And the inimitable one, Marshall Holman, back in 1983. And if you think it's tough bowling, how'd you like to be Kent Wagner's wife, Lisa? One of the finest women professional bowlers in the world, have to sit there and not be able to go up there and throw any strikes for her husband.
No, but she could probably give him some good advice.
Yeah, I bet she does. Well, he's already said, we asked him, who's the best bowler in the family? He said, make no mistake, it's probably Lisa.
For the double. See, that straight line that he's using, he's going straighter than any of the players in the top 24, especially on the top 5 today. Just drill in that pocket.
Right, that was Pack City there. Kent winning earlier this year at the Showboat in Las Vegas. Defeated Pete Weber, as Mike intimated a little earlier, 268 to 190. And
that's just not defeating, and that's stomping on
it. Well, that's making sure you get the job done. Looks for the turkey on the left-hand lane.
Oh, it knocks that 10-pin out of there. Gave it a little whip action and went to the whip. Well, he's got Warren now thinking about it as he gets up rather slowly from his seat. He's got to strike a couple times here to keep this match close.
Chris Warren's first ever appearance on national television, first appearance in the top 24 in a PBA national event. And he's had 3 cashes in 11 national tournaments thus far this year.
Going to really come. And he just hasn't been able to figure out lane 30. He's been light all 3 times, and this time 210. Tough spare. He's got to hit that 2-pin on the left innie and slide it over into the 10.
Pretty cool customer. Disposed of Pete McCordick, 224 to 187 in game number 2. McCordick had defeated Purvis Granger in game number 1 here of the Austin Open, 263 to 230.
Too much.
Well, I wouldn't say Chris Warren is known for his spare shooting, would you? He's more of a strike bowler.
He can throw lots of those, but he better start throwing them right now. He's down 36 pins, and we're in the 5th frame. Just through the 5th frame.
Kent Wagner works on a turkey at this point, so he's off to the races. Meanwhile, Chris Warren has to solve the puzzle quickly.
He's not having any trouble with lane 29. It's lane 30 that's giving him the problems. Yeah, we have a note here from our statistician, Chuck Pierce, that both Lisa and Kent were on TV the same day. Lisa in the U.S. Open and Kent in the Hartford PBA Open.
Right, first time that's ever happened. They said hello to each other on national television. Promptly went out, and both of them lost. Kent turns around, realizes, gave that a little bit of an elbow shot, and I had a feeling the 10-pin might stand.
And he said something to Chris Warren. I don't know what it was.
I think he said something about fried chicken wings or something like that, because Chris just cracked up, which is amazing. You'd think he'd be pretty nervous at this point when you trail by as many pins as he is right now to an accomplished player like Kent Wagner.
I know, it never amazes me. These young players talk to one another like that. I wouldn't want to say anything. If I were up 36 pins and my opponent was struggling like that, I wouldn't want to say anything that would loosen him up.
I think the tour has changed, Mike, as we've seen a couple of times this year in Seattle with Parker Bone Jr. and Scott Beavers just chatting before the title match, and it just seems like the younger players, for whatever reason, maybe they realize it's so difficult to win that, hey, whoever wins, they're happy for the guy. You know, I can almost liken it. The thing that's amazing to me is when boxers beat up on each other for 15 rounds and then start kissing each other when the fight is over. Well, anyway, it's a 36-pin lead, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more.
Bud Thunder. It's revved up and coming at you.
You were talking about ball rotation earlier tonight, Mike. Let's describe the shot.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the precession of a bowling ball, how a ball spins down. Watch him as his fingers get about almost to 3 o'clock. And the ball's spinning here. There's a little white dot that's moving across the ball. You can just barely see it there. That says the ball's precessing. And right at the end, it almost disappears. And that particular shot actually was weak, and it never really got into a heavy roll, but it still struck anyway.
Chris Warren with a strike in the 6th. There you see the magic number just below his name. Trails by 36.
He has to strike here. Is he going to hit it? Oh, the old messenger shot.
Well, Kent Wagner was praying for 9 spare, and Chris Warren comes up with an X in the 7th.
And the thing to watch is watch the head pin, Denny. Almost always these messages come from the head pin shot. The ball comes in light in the 1-3 pocket. And the head pin, we can't see it, went to the wall, is coming back now and saying to that 10 pin, fall over.
That's just like Western Union there, huh? Boy, right across and back.
Down to 26. Strikes here, it's down to 16.
Oh, he pulled it.
Got away with just a 4-pin, but when you're down by 26, you need to keep striking.
Chris realizing immediately that he didn't throw the kind of shot that he wanted to in that position. Almost those feet just start to move a little too fast, don't they, Mike, when the pressure's on?
Both these players get the ball into the swing really quick and have very quick feet.
All right, spares up. The Wagner still leads by 27.
Right now, Warren is potential 212. Wagner's going at a 219 pace. So he's definitely in the most advantageous position. A couple strikes here, and he totally lock it up.
And there you see 2 different colored shoes. Must have been color coordinated by the Cleveland Browns. The reason why, as we see a strike in the 8th, is Kent says that he has all sorts of difficulty finding a sliding shoe that's comfortable for the way he likes to bowl. That left-footed shoe is now over 3 years old, and even though it doesn't match, it feels good, and it's consistent.
It's interesting, too, because he hardly slides at all.
I know. He said the heel is really worn down just the way he likes it. So it's not that he's colorblind, folks. It's just that he likes the sliding shoe.
Strike here locks it up entirely. Oh, solid 10-pin.
Lisa's eyebrows raised a little bit. I think she was a touch surprised the 10-pin didn't go down. Boy, that 6-pin just whistled around the 10.
Sure did. He's had every ball in there. 3 10-pins in the 2nd, the 6th, and now the 9th. Cross lane, he certainly had enough practice. He knows where to aim and where to throw to make this.
It's amazing how hard that he can throw the ball. I mean, amazing. He only weighs, what, 125 pounds?
Well, yeah, but he's a monster compared to Chris Warren here. He's 150.
Right. Looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger compared to him, doesn't he? Well, Chris Warren.
Still a little bit of life if he would strike all the way out to shoot 212. Something disastrous would happen to Wagner in the 10th frame. And the solid 10.
Well, Kent Wagner breathing a little easier at this stage.
Well, right now, if Chris Warren doesn't strike out in the 10th frame, Wagner doesn't even need to show up for the 10th to win.
Nothing like a win in the semifinal game like that one.
In the 9th frame, when he got it locked up by the 9th frame, the great Buddy Bomar used to always say, win it in the 9th. So you don't have to wait to the 10th. Have it locked up by the 9th.
Warren spares. Kind of interesting, Mike. Phil Ringner really has not been practicing much on the alternate pair over there. Just pretty much watching this title match. It's the first time he's ever bowled from the top seat position. I wonder what's going through his mind.
Well, as he said in the interview, I think what's going through his mind is he was striking at will in the practice session. That he just wants to come over here and keep bowling like he's bowled for 42 games in this tournament. And if he does that, Kent Wagner's going to have to bowl a very good game to beat him. And that's it. Wagner is definitely the winner of the semifinal match.
And the best possible score that Chris Warren could post would be 190 with a spare and a strike. And there you see Phil Ringner waiting in the wings. Now he's going to throw a practice shot or just maybe load up the balls and carry him over. So that's pretty much all said and done for Chris Warren, who really represented himself well here this evening. He'll take home a check worth $6,000, and I'm sure that'll help pay some of the bills.
And right now, so far, everyone has finished where they qualified. Ranger in 5th, McCordick 4th, and Chris Warren right here. His name eluded me for a second there. Chris Warren is going to finish 3rd, so if that scenario continues to hold true, then Philip Ringner is going to win this title.
Well, I know he'd be celebrating late into the night if he did. Been on the tour a long time, 8 years, without a victory. Hasn't been out full time all that span, but
he'd win some money and go home for a while and then come back.
Try it again.
These folks have a bowling center in Big Spring, Texas. I stopped and practiced there one time.
Where is that located? He said somewhere pretty close to Midland. Is that what he said?
Yes, I think he said it was like 20 miles west of Midland, Texas.
Well, Wagner leaves another half 10, but it's the first time I've seen a bowler come back, leave a half 10 with a smile on his face.
He could care less at this point. So Florida has disposed of Texas in the semifinal match, and can they do it in the title match?
I don't know. Only time will tell, as they say. Lisa Wagner looks on, very happy with what Kent has accomplished thus far in the semifinal game.
He wins his 2nd game in his career on national television.
Hey, he lost his first 6. He's liable to win his next 6. He's now
it goes that way sometimes.
Sure it does.
It goes that way.
It's crazy. I remember talking to Earl Anthony one time, and he said, Danny, I went about 8 matches in a row and couldn't win a game, and then I went crazy and won 8 or 9 in a row. You never really can tell. He moved out a little bit, I think, on that lane on that shot, just to give it a little practice try. And so Kent Wagner comes up a big winner in the semifinal game, an easy victory, 227 to 189. And coming up next, it'll be the big fella from Big Spring, Texas, Philip Ringner, leading his first ever PBA event. He'd love to win. Kent Wagner will try and stand in his way. We'll be right back.
Columbia 300 knows that all bowlers are not created equal. That's why Columbia 300 has spent years in research just to have the right ball for you. If you need less weight, the light dot. Drier lanes, the white dot. The perfect all-around ball, the world-famous yellow dot. If you're ready for urethane, the Columbia 300 U dot. The wine U dot for normal conditions, and the new black U dot when you want more curve. Columbia 300 sold only in lanes and pro shops.
It's your call. You can enjoy the fresh-baked quality from Domino's Pizza or take your chances with the Noid. You can have pizza made to your order, or you can count on our famous 30-minute delivery, or you can taste the quality from Domino's Pizza, so avoid the Noid. Domino's Pizza delivers. Call now.
Thursday is tea time at the British Open. Defending champion Greg Norman leads the charge at Muirfield, where Tom Watson took the title in 1980. The British Open, live Thursday and Friday morning on ESPN.
Well, the scores were big to start here this evening, as McCordick shot 263 in the opening game, and he knocked off Purvis Granger's 230. Second game, scores went down a little bit, as Chris Warren erupted, shot 224, and defeated Pete McCordick, 187. And then in the last match, the semifinal game, Kent Wagner relaxed a little bit near the end of that game, winning 227 to 189, Mike Durbin. And you have already mentioned the fact that the stepladder has stayed the same. So Phil Ringner will bowl out of the top seed position. He'll take on Kent Wagner. What are your thoughts about the title game?
Well, so far, if I can get my voice right here, no one's been able to put two good games in a row together. We'll be able to see if Kent Wagner can do that, or whether the form that we've had so far is going to hold true and Philip Ringner is going to win his first title.
One player who put it all together here in Austin last year over at Highland Lanes was Big Steve Cook, as he recorded the victory here in the Austin Open. It was a very tough match indeed. A talented rookie, Rod Pasteur, stood in his way. Here's a look back at last year.
He strikes, winds up with 189. Pasteur would need 2 strikes and 9 in the 10th frame to win his first PBA title. A tie is still possible.
That would be interesting.
Especially since we're running out of time.
Cook unleashes the strike ball, and he knew it right from the beginning that it was a perfect shot, and Steve sort of chuckles as he walks off the approach, but now the pressure is laid heavily on the shoulders of 25-year-old Rod Pasteur.
And Pasteur has only 2 strikes in this championship game, both of them coming on lane 20, and he needs to get 2 more right here. Has to take them one at a time.
Steve Cook's banner is hanging on lane 20. I wonder if Pasteur has taken a look at that.
Gives it to the room.
And Cook is the winner. And Rod Pasteur obviously disappointed. A game effort by the rookie, but Steve Cook is the winner of the $115,000 Austin Open. And last year's Austin Open was dominated by the left-handers. This year, however, Mike Durbin, it's been a bit of a different story.
Well, we've had some left-handers in the top 24, but predominantly the tournament has been dominated by right-handers, and right-handers that throw the ball straight. We see that the right-handed players averaged only 196. That's because some of them had some bad tournaments this week. Lefties at 200. All the bowlers only 197. You needed only a 200 average to cash and 205 to make the top 24, so the scores were low this week in Austin. Best match play record, Philip Ringner, 19-5. Most games over 200, Purvis Granger at 33, and the most consecutives, Pete McCordick with 13 in a row. 1-300 game by Leroy Bornop, who made our top 24, and Steve Wunderlich had a 290. Joe Berardi, who played golf with you today, 289.
That's right, he did play very well today. A number of professionals had outstanding weeks here. People don't understand sometimes. You don't make the telecast. You've still had a very solid week. Let's take a look at the people who finished 6th through 24th.
And in 6th place, just missing our top 5 tonight, was Dave Arnold. We saw him a couple weeks ago. Tom Kreitz in 7th. John Odrobinick finished 8th. Scott Devers, last week's champion, finished 9th. Good week for him. And Rod Pasteur, the runner-up last year, was in the top 10. Leroy Barnop with his 300, and Mike Jasnow finished 12th. Joe Berardi, breaking out of a slump, 13th. Mark Baker in 16th. In the finals every week, Bobby Jacks there again. Del Warren and Palmer Fahlgren on a run. Mats Carlson from Sweden. Mark Fay won a roll-off to get into the finals. Bob Benoit, 22nd. Ray Baldovino in 23rd. And Richard Blamwell qualified 2nd, but he had a little trouble in the match play. Finished 24th.
It used to be, Mike, back in the old days, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago, where a PBA player couldn't win $100,000. But boy, times have really changed on the PBA Tour.
Well, we've got 3 guys over 100,000 so far this year. Last year, we had a number of players over 100,000. A few years ago, we had Mike Albee win over 200,000. So the money's out there, and we've got some young tigers out here to win it. There's our money standings list. Pete Weber cashed this week with $152,000. McCordy will add to that tonight. Del Ballard Jr. still at $123,000. Marshall Holman took a week off this week. Dave Ferraro didn't cash this week. Brian Voss had trouble also. Walter A. Williams at $72,000. Tom Milton hasn't been out all summer. And Amleto Monticelli at $67,500.
Well, Marshall Holman took the week off to rest up for next week's Hammer Open. He is still atop the leaderboard as far as the averages are concerned.
He's at 218, but right behind him is Pete Weber at 217.2, and Dave Ferraro at 215. Albee still in the top 5, the only lefty there. Brian Voss at 214, a number of players at 214, and Mark Baker is 10th at 214 even.
Well, it's been an interesting final so far. Now we have Phil Ringner bowling out of the top seed position against Kent Wagner. Wagner has the only title. I have a feeling he might have a slight edge, but as Mike intimated, Philip Ringner has really been striking in practice, so we'll find out.
This sports challenge is brought to you by Cruex, the #1 cure for jock itch. Wilma Rudolph winning the 100-meter final for a gold medal at the 1960 Olympics. Then a gold medal in the 400-meter hurdles for Glenn Davis. And a surprise, a clean sweep for the U.S. in the shot put. The Cruex challenge? Who won the shot put for the U.S. in 1960? Dallas Long, Harry O'Brien, or Bill Nieder?
Hello. My name is Jiffy Jeff. What? You know, the most important thing in boxing is to never get caught with your gloves down. There are only 2 things to bring them down: fatigue and jock itch.
Don't let jock itch hit you below the belt. Fight back with Cruex. Cruex kills jock itch fungus and helps stop painful burning, itching, and irritation.
Time out. I got an itch.
Cruex, the #1 cure for jock itch.
Dallas Long took the bronze medal for the U.S. in the shot put in Rome in 1960. The second place silver went to Harry O'Brien. But who won the Olympic gold to give the U.S. a clean sweep? The gold went to Bill Nieder with an Olympic record toss of 64 feet, 6 3/4 inches.
Now the multitudes of pests that can invade your home face a single brand of protection. Ortho, the #1 name in outdoor pest control. Indoors as well as out, you're better off with Ortho. The cockroach has met its match. Long-lasting Ortho Home Pest insect control kills on contact and keeps on working for up to 6 weeks, killing roaches, spiders, ants, and fleas. Ortho Home Pest insect control, now with a $2 rebate.
And there are only 2 survivors left here in the $115,000 Austin Open. Kent Wagner is one of them because he defeated Chris Warren in the semifinal game. And there you see Philip Ringner and Kent Wagner. They're the only 2 left here in Austin, Texas.
Well, we're going to see both players at 28 years of age. Both players been on the tour a number of years with not a whole lot of success. High through the heart of the pins. First time he missed the pocket, breaks it up, leaves the 610. 31-200 games this week out of a possible 42.
On the television pair, Kent Wagner posting games of 213 and 247, works out to a neat 230 average, and he shot, what, 227 in the last game?
So he's staying right around it.
Likes the pair, obviously, but so does Philip Ringner, who was averaging 245 on the television pair with efforts of 226 and 264, and there you see a good look at the smiling Philip Ringner. Good-natured guy. Of course, all Texans are, right?
Sure.
Just down-home folk.
Y'all.
Philip's talking to himself.
That's what he's been doing all week long right there. That tremendous speed and just drill in the pocket.
Unbelievable. What was it? Must have been Monday night in match play. He was throwing at about 200 miles an hour. And big average this week, 215.42. Posted the finest match play record among our television finalists, 19-5. And he won the first 10 matches he bowled in, Mike, so he really stormed out.
Well, the top seed has been on a roll lately. We saw Scott Devers win last week. Actually, he won 4 in a row, and he's trying to make it 5. For the double, high. And is it going to fall?
Oh, my goodness.
Kent Wagner.
There's his wife and his mom, and oh, my goodness. They were all hoping this would fall.
Right through the heart. It has the baby split, and the 10-pin falls and rolls up here and hits that 3-pin. Hit it pretty firm, too. As he makes it back to live action.
Kent Wagner is so funny. There you see, these two guys are bowling for a title. Obviously, Phillips first, and yet they still have that air of, it's almost like Saturday afternoon junior bowling. Hey, whoever wins, wins.
Bowl for a Coke here, you know, or something instead of a title.
Oh, brother. I think the audience and us are far more nervous than the two guys playing for the championship here.
Both of them going just the same angle, same type of delivery, almost the same speed. There's about 100 pounds difference between the two, but we're just going to see which straight shooter here can prevail.
Well, both of these players have had success in Austin. Kent Wagner finishing 4th here a year ago, and in 1985, Philip Ringner qualified and finished 5th in the Austin Open. So Texas has been a good state for both these young gentlemen. Things are getting a little better with that career TV record. I think he'd like to see a 3 next to the 6.
Right there. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Kent Wagner and his wife, Lisa, I think looking for an opportunity to perhaps purchase a bowling center back home. Trying to get involved in the bowling industry. And, a win tonight certainly wouldn't hurt the chances.
$16,000 would add to that down payment. Hurry up, ball. And it did.
That was Dick Weber wall shot.
He's had all the hits this week. He's had the light, thin hit. He's had that wall shot. He's had the solid hit. It's just been his week all week long. But you throw away all the pins in the title match.
Mike, some houses, some bowling centers have certain characteristics where certain shots are favored in the house.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Some of it depends on how the bowling center, the lanes are conditioned. But many, many times a bowling center will favor a left-hander or favor a bowler that throws it straight, or maybe favor a bowler that throws a great big hook. And the reason we're a little delayed right here is Ringner has taken his first re-rack of the championship round. In fact, I think it's the first re-rack we've had of the entire night. I don't think anybody's taken any re-racks.
There's a good look at lane 29, and then a better look at Kent Wagner.
And right behind Kent Wagner there was Laura Childs, who's the assistant manager here. Oh, bad break. He does not knock down the 7-pin. And right now, Wagner is looking pretty good.
Thus far this year, Philip Ringner with earnings of $15,600 in his career, just a fraction over $100,000 in 8 years as a PBA member. But as I mentioned, he has not bowled full-time all those 8 years. Throwing hard and straight at the spares, but he trails at this point by 10 pins. We're in the early go here of the title match.
If you're willing to drive a little, Hijacker Buick Pontiac in Hamburg can save you a lot. Just 30 minutes west of Allentown off Route 22, Hijacker Buick Pontiac in Hamburg always has a large, big city selection of Buicks and Pontiacs to choose from at prices much lower than those city slickers have to charge. So for big city selection at small town prices, visit Hijacker Buick Pontiac, just 30 minutes west of Allentown off Route 22. Your best bet for a better deal.
Listen, homeowners, say you need some home improvements. Anything from chain link fencing to complete kitchens and bathrooms. Who can you trust to do the job right? You want a company known for quality and fair price, has insured installers and nearly 100 years experience, one who guarantees satisfaction and offers credit. You want Sears. For a free estimate, pick up the phone now and call Sears at 1-800-542-4242. You can trust your house to Sears.
PBA Tour heads to Edmond, Oklahoma Boulevard Bowl next week. And the show is live and direct from Edmond, Oklahoma, July 22nd, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
And the winner of this bet is going to take home $16,000. The loser, $8,250. Chris Warren got $6,000 for third. McCordick added $5,000 to his impressive earnings already this year. And, of course, Purvis Granger took home $4,000.
And back to live action. Kent Wagner works on a double, shooting in the fourth, and he leads by 10 over Philip Ringner.
And he can really put the squeeze on Ringner with a couple more strikes here. Oh, just dead perfect flush.
Should Kent Wagner come up victorious this evening, he would join Randy Peterson and Brian Voss as the only two-time winners on the PBA Tour this year.
Well, right now, he looks like he's going to be hard to beat. He's just going so straight and so direct at the pocket. It's just, he can go almost nowhere but to the 1-3. For 4 in a row.
Well, the story thus far in the title match has been the four-bagger presented by Kent Wagner, who now leads by 30 pins, and Philip Ringner well aware of the fact that it's time to strike.
He's got to start putting something together right now. And the 7-pin again. He cannot get the break to get him loose.
Interesting note, Philip Ringner was the only television finalist to defeat the other 4 players on the show here this evening during the match play portion of this tournament. And I'm sure he would give away all 19 of his match play victories for a win here tonight.
Halfway through the match, and he's going to be down quite a bit at the 7-pin.
Regardless of who wins this match, they'll be eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Of the 5 television finalists this evening, Kent Wagner has bowled in the Firestone, did so this last year, but has to win tonight to requalify.
That's correct. Up by 31 pins. Ringner trailing by that same number halfway through the match. Well, that's one.
Well, the longest journey begins with the first step, as they say.
He needs Wagner to slow down, too. Obviously, if Wagner just keeps striking, there's not much that Philip can do about it.
That may not happen.
He threw 8 in a row against Pete Weber. Ooh, it looked just the same, but the 10-pin stood. And Philip says, thank goodness.
Do you want to show your emotions when you're sitting on the bench, as they say, Mike?
No, I really don't think that you do. The place to show your emotions, and until the match is over, and if you know whether you've won or lost, is when you're out there doing it yourself. And if you want to show emotion then for a strike or something, I think that's can sometimes be intimidating to your opponent. Cross lane at the 10-pin, no trouble.
No trouble, but Kent scratches his forehead. There you see Lisa. I think the heartbeats went up a little bit. That one barely hung on. That was almost that Christopher Columbus shot, you know, off the edge.
As Chris Warren showed us last game, huh?
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's easy to do.
Wagner has missed the pocket only once so far in both games. That was the first frame of this game. Rigner's got the strike because this kid's not going to beat himself. Rigner's going to have to beat him.
Well, the bowling has been excellent, and of course the pictures provided this evening. Outstanding technical work by our producer Tom Williamson, and also veteran director of bowling at the network level, Ken Samuel.
Has to have this one, Eddie. Light. Oh, and he knocks that 10-pin out of there in that half-pocket hit.
And there you see his wife, Jill, and his mom, and they are still, I think, a little nervous at this point, rightfully so.
Well, he can bring it within 10 pins, though, and he asked for another re-rack on the left lane.
So that's number 2.
That's number 2. He only gets one more, and that's it. Sometimes it's so hard to get that first double then, and then once you get that, you can really get going. But right now, he knows that he's got to put pressure on Wagner. This strike is just as important as the last one. And he got it this time. He got that light hit to carry.
And he stays at the foul line for a few seconds and whispers a few pleasantries down lane 29.
Keeps his feet slow here. Sometimes he gets too fast and leaves the dinner bucket. About the 7th, 8th board, comes in thin, really thin. The head pin goes to the wall, and that classic 4-5-7 going out.
Reach, reach, reach. How about a little help? Yes.
Ooh, a
And
little aggression there, a little aggression. Or the double here. Leaves the 4-pin. We've got an interesting match right here, I'll tell you what. It is still it's a potential tie. Both bowlers, if he makes this 4-pin, they strike out, they could shoot 249.
You know, Phil Ringner has to kind of scratch his head a little bit. He's 0 for 3 on national television, but his opponents are averaging 260.3 against him.
Well, he says he's ahead of the game now because they're not going to shoot that much this time.
He's probably thinking that at this point, but I mean, you got to feel like a punching bag when people are shooting 260s at you out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Heading to the 9th frame, the difference is 10 pins. Kent Wagner has them. By the way, if we had a tie game, if these bowlers tied, we'd have a 2-frame roll-off similar to the 9th and 10th frames of a regulation game. There's the scoreboard. Tells the story. 10 pins the difference. 9th frame.
Well, that's the foundation frame.
That's right. And if he hadn't struck there, Ringeter could have struck out and locked him out, as ironic as it may seem. Right now, though, this is Phillips' biggest shot of the week right here.
Biggest shot of his career.
Well, they all are. I mean, but this one evens the match right now. The heart starts pounding a little quicker right now, and you try and keep yourself under control.
Keep those feet slow.
He got the light hit. That evens the match. Well, last week, it came down to the 10th frame, and it was which 25-year-old could strike out in the 10th frame as we get a second look this week, as Phillip is going to carry this light hit one more time. He's been carrying it all week long. It's which 28-year-old is going to be able to strike out in the 10th frame.
Boy, check out this concentration. Help me a little bit. Oh, my goodness. You think he just won the Super Bowl.
And this is to take the lead for the first time in the match.
He doubled in Cleveland against Norm Duke.
He's there. Oh, and he carries.
But then he threw the dinner bucket and ended up losing. Right now, that might be going through his mind, but what a brilliant shot in the 10th.
What a comeback. To be down by 30 pins, this is his best shot of the match. Look at the loft. Well over the foul line. Good lift. Perfect in the 1-3 pocket. And all of them in the pins.
Drill City. Well, when you see those pins spinning round and round, you know you've thrown a good shot.
Up by 10. This one just as important.
Tied. Mike, settle down a little bit, will you? Holy cow, you're going to go crazy up here. Ringeter just flat pulled that shot in the 11th and struck, and as a possible 249 is the big guy from Big Springs. Hey, let's part the waters here. Anything, I'll take a strike, and he gets it.
This one, he cannot lose if he strikes on this one in regulation. He can lose.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Ringeter, with a brilliant performance, come from behind, shoots 248, and now he must sit and wait to find out what his fate is.
And he lost to Norm Duke with a 240 game earlier this year.
Well, there it says graphically needs 3 strikes to win the match.
And the title. One at a time. Very little time. And there's one.
Kent Wagner was talking to it, that time on lane 30, just begging for mercy. And look at Phil Ringeter at this point. Nothing he can do but sit back and wait.
Oh, it's an agonizing feeling for both bowlers right now. Wow. I mean,
boy, the fans have been royally treated here this evening.
And this is what professional bowling is all about, Denny. This is what match play bowling is. This is all of sport right here, whether you can do it in the clutch to win. Ringeter has his back to it. He's there. And knocks the 10-pin over.
Well, a strike here means a victory for Kent Wagner. However, with 9, we have a tie.
And seeing as he has only gotten less than strike or 9 once so far in 2 games, the odds are pretty good that he's going to throw it in the 1-3 pocket. It's just a matter of whether he's going to strike.
Could be overtime, OT.
It could be.
SD, sudden death, too, huh?
And it did it! What a finish! What a finish for Kent Wagner.
And there you see the high five from Philip Ringner. You know how disappointed he has to be. What a performance. There you see Lisa, tears coming to her eyes, the hugs for the champion, and it just flat doesn't get any better than this. A standing ovation here at Westgate Lanes in Austin, Texas. There you see the winner of the $115,000 Austin Open, Kent Wagner.
Remember, dear, you've only had your license one day.
I'll be fine, Mom. Don't worry.
Don't forget your first stop. When you stop at a Shell station, you get more than America's best-selling gasolines. You get all the little extras you may not find at other stations.
Here. I've never done this before. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you. Come back and see us.
Because at Shell, we haven't forgotten
That was easy.
how a service station got its name. Shell. Experience the difference.
Reintroducing Kellogg's Rice Krispies, now with more energy-releasing B vitamins than ever. Part of a good breakfast that can help get you going. Excuse me. Rice Krispies with more B vitamins. It can help give you some get up and go. Oh, boy. Rice Krispies with more B vitamins. If you need a little snap, crackle, pop in your morning. Aha! Oh, crying out loud.
From tee to green, television's best golf coverage is on ESPN. The greatest tournaments, including Grand Slam events, the U.S. Open, British Open, and the PGA Championship. Outstanding PGA Tour, LPGA, and Senior PGA Tour golfers, featuring Jack Nicklaus, Pat Bradley, and Arnold Palmer. ESPN's live coverage from the world's most spectacular courses brings you closer than ever to the players and the action. The very best is par for the course on ESPN.
Tough problems call for special solutions. So call on True Test specialty products from True Value hardware stores. True Test Sealer and Stain Killer prepares surfaces for painting, and it's just $4.98 a quart. Outside, remove dirt and chalk with True Test Siding Cleaner, only $5.98 a half gallon. True Seal waterproofing coating is just $7.98 a gallon. And Exo Rust Gloss Enamel puts down a rust-resistant coat. It's only $4.98 a quart at participating True Value hardware stores.
And there you see the winner of the $115,000 Austin Open, Kent Wagner. And it wasn't easy, Kent. You had to strike out in the 10th frame. That's every bowler's dream, isn't it?
No, that's why I'm losing my hair. It's tough. I can't believe it still.
You mean it's every bowler's nightmare to have to strike out for a title?
That's for sure.
Okay, Lisa, what kind of encouragement were you offering when he had to go up in the 10th frame and throw 3 strikes to win?
The only thing I could tell him was one at a time, because, you know, unless you take them one at a time, you're not going to get any.
And one more time, who's the best bowler in the family?
She is.
How can that happen? Let's bring out Jerry Ray now, the proprietor here at Westgate Lanes. Jerry, I know you have a beautiful check here. You might as well give it to Lisa.
Kent, congratulations on behalf of all the bowlers in Austin. Hope you'll be back next year. It was a great match.
Thanks, Gary. I'd like to thank everybody here in Austin and at Westgate Lanes. Thank you.
And we'll bring in Jim Hensley now, the general manager here at Westgate Lanes. And oh, my goodness, I think that's the state of Texas, Kent Wagner.
Bigger than me. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Kent. We hope you all come back. I think that was about the most exciting match I've seen in a while.
Thank you very much.
Well, pretty exciting here in Austin, Texas this evening. We'll be right back. Mike Durbin will chat with our winner right after these messages.
This can happen to good bowlers on lanes with limited distance dressing or short oil. Short oil means oil out to here, 26 feet or less from the foul line. Short oil can make your ball react unpredictably, a big problem. Now, the solution from Ebonite, the new Firebolt SO, a urethane ball with a unique additive. to make it roll long, hit hard, and not overreact on today's short oil conditions. Ebonite's new Firebolt SO is the solution to the problems of short oil.
Spend less time with yard work and more time relaxing with some hard-working helpers from True Value Hardware stores. Eliminate pests with a 3-gallon galvanized steel sprayer from Hudson. It's just $24.99. Keep bushes well-groomed with this 22-inch Black & Decker hedge trimmer for only $49.99. And this electric weed eater trimmer cuts a 10-inch path and comes with 50 feet of free trimming line, all for just $29.88 at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
This was Matchlight Instant Lighting Charcoal. Now today's Matchlight. You can see the difference. Today's Matchlight lights twice as fast. Now, watch today's Matchlight spread. Fast. Which is why it's ready so fast. Lights fast, spreads fast. Today's Matchlight. It's twice as fast.
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing.
Sadowski, Shaboski.
A chance.
Pronounced Shaboski.
You're gonna make it here, 'cause you make America work, and this fight's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste
Hey, Sid.
that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
And we're back in Austin, Texas, standing room only crowd. Ken, I have a question. Earlier this year when you won in Las Vegas, they asked you what you would do with the money, and you said buy a racing car. What about this year?
Try to think more into it.
Buy some gasoline, huh?
Yeah, no, I'd like to buy a bowling center. That's what we'd really like to do.
Okay, now Mike Durbin has a very special guest, the player who finished second this evening, Philip Ringner, who bowled brilliantly and just came up one pin short.
Philip, I know you have to be disappointed. You bowled so outstanding tonight. The guys are averaging 260 at you coming into tonight, and then he strikes out to beat you by one pin with 240 tonight. You must feel snake bitten.
Well, one of these days maybe I can win a game on TV. I don't know.
You made that big comeback finish there with 6 in a row at the end of the game. Did you change anything? What happened that you made that comeback?
Well, I just tightened up a little bit and tried to firm up on the ball, and everything seemed to go well, and except the last one.
Well, I want to congratulate you. Maybe the next time when you bowl so well this week, that'll be the start that'll get you going and get you to your first title.
I hope so. I want to congratulate Ken on his victory. It was very... I don't think I could have threw 3 1/10 to win.
You threw 2.
Mike, I have a question for Kent Wagner, the winner. You become now the 3rd multiple champion in 1987 on the PBA Tour, joining Randy Peterson and also Brian Voss. It's taken you a long time to win a PBA title. Now you've got 2 in 1 year. Might you win a couple more?
I hope so. It's tough, I tell you.
You've bowled well here in Austin in the past, so obviously you do like the Lone Star State.
I like Austin a lot. This area, I really like this area. One of my favorite places.
If you tell these people that you like the Texas Longhorns, you could probably move here tomorrow.
No, I like Pennsylvania better.
Don't say Penn State to a Texas Longhorn fan. Well, I know you've enjoyed the bowling here this evening. Mike and I have certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. And hopefully we'll be back next year with another exciting championship round from the Austin Open in Austin, Texas. So long, everybody.
That's a great finish.
Next week on ESPN, it's the finals of the $150,000 Hammer Open, live from Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma, beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Tonight's $115,000 Austin Open has been brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age, for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all that you do, this Bud's for you. And by True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business. This has been a presentation of Bud Sports through the facilities of ESPN.
You United can show you the old Hawaii where time takes a rest. And you can become yourself again. So come become Hawaii with the airline that's been her friend for nearly 40 years. United.
And today I had made up my mind I was not going to make that mistake. If I lost, it was going to be because I just physically didn't play good enough or someone beat me, not because I mentally beat myself. And that's the thing I'm the proudest of.
Well, Gary knows how to score very well. Even when he's in trouble and you think you got him, he's a game little man. He always